Hey guys, hope everyone is doing great. We are going to take a closer look at the Gratitude Oracle deck by Angela Hartfield and Josephine Wall. Publishing group is Blue Angel. I've had this deck for a good 2 weeks now and I have really been enjoying it. It's been a great addition to my other decks by the author and artist. Really complements the other cards they have done. This is what the box will look like. It's a massive two-piece box, very strong box that is very protective for your cards. It makes a total of a 55 card deck with a guidebook. At the back of the box, you have a summary introduction of the cards and some illustration of what they will look like. I will leave it here for a second so you guys can read if you choose to, and you can pause also. On opening the box, you are presented with the large cards and quite a bit of space, which the guidebook does take up. So the decks are going to be moving around a bit. Everything out of the box, you will have the total of the 55 cards, that large guidebook, and the two-piece box. Now that guidebook is the main reason behind the massive size of that box. This is what it pretty much will look like. We will cover more near the end of the video, but the guidebook is overall it's in black and white, which is a shame given the fact that you've got such beautiful design. I would have loved to see the guidebook in full color. So we'll have a look at that near the end of the video. The cards are on the very large size and pretty thick and heavy in the hands. They do come plain edge also. But yeah, heavy cards, okay to shuffle, but not really that smooth. Now let's have a look at the back of the card. You have this kind of like floral pattern on top and at the bottom with an image of what looks like a young child sleeping or resting in nature. It's purple in color, looks different in the various sort of like different lighting, sort of like a lighter purple, darker. So the card will look different in various different lights that you put it in. A closer look at the texture of the cards. They are a matte finish. The cards are pretty thick, so overall stock is, I said the stock is very rigid, very strong cards, which is pretty great, especially for its size. And here you can see just how thick it is and how rigid it is. I mean, whichever sides you tend to test it, it's a really well made deck, something you don't have to really worry about. You could see here how very solid the deck is. Inside the front of the cards, you again have this nice matte finish texture. The images look very nice, clear with so much details, and the fonts are very clear as well to read. The cards are borderless, so you get a wonderful full imaged, packed with so much details with minimal wordings and card numbers. It really does feel like an upgraded version from the other series of the decks that they've done, which I will compare for you guys to see what I mean near the end of the video. So let's take a look at each of these beautiful cards. Now I will also do a flip through as well for you guys to kind of like see it again from a different perspective. So these are the wonderful, beautiful cards, gorgeous design. Our first card we have is Perspective and Harmony, beautiful colors, and the artwork is stunning as always from Josephine. Absolutely amazing. You have in the Perspective card, you have a young female who is shifting her perspective, and in doing so you can see how it's opening up her world to the many possibilities, loads of bright colors and abundance of things that are positive, which is pretty much what the cards ask of you to also try and do. Harmony is full of green, and again you've got a younger person who is embodying everything that life has to offer, is in harmony and grateful for what there is. Again, that is what is being advised to you. The next cards are open-minded and timing. Apology. The fourth card should have been stillness, but this is what we've got. Very beautiful blend of colors with so much going on in each image. The cards are full of bounties, which really gives across that need to truly realize just how grateful we should be and what we have around us. Open-minded card is about having the ability to have a more open-minded approach to outcomes instead of one main result. Be more absorbed in the experience, like the baby, live in the moment. Timing card has so much going on in it. It's giving us a look at how in many ways divine timing happens. It's a beautiful card because it makes me realize just how complex it is to bring our desires to manifest, and if we could try to control of all of these things, it will pretty much take forever and be very, very messy. So we've got stillness and the presence as our next card. Stillness here is an illustration of what it would look like if we were to be still within ourselves, with the whole busy world all around us. You know, you could pick up so many little things going on. You've got the squirrels there, the birds, so many beautiful things to be appreciative of is what it demonstrates in that card. And our card number 6, the power of being present. You become more in line with your inner self, and you tend to find that peace and realization that is needed. Beautiful blend of colors. The artistry is absolutely beautiful. We've got our card number 7 and card number 8, grace and kind-hearted. Again, I just love how these colors kind of like blend together. Grace is about how one should handle or approach various situations. Being gracious, even to those who has caused you pain. Forgiving yourself is important, but also others in demonstrating such grace. The gaze into the universe is demonstrating trusting in the universe, in the image. Kind-hearted is about being thoughtful and considerate. Showing kindness will help ground us and make us a lot more compassionate, but also raise our thoughts to be more positive. The act of kindness taking place in the card on display. Our next 2 cards are possibilities and love. Possibilities, you have a woman who has opened a box filled with various mystical energies or beings, indicating the many possibilities around you, and to allow yourself their gifts, to embrace their gifts. You have different symbolism here of wealth, rebirth, and so on, with the phoenix and other things going on there to embrace. The love card, again, it's very has a very romantic image. I love the luminous colors, very attractive and powerful energy, and calming also. You have a woman embracing her love with eyes closed and him looking at her lovingly as well. The power of love will always help us against any temporary difficulties, so something that we can like embrace while we're going through challenging times. Next cards are intention and self-care. Now, each of these cards also do have their own affirmations. I will read out a few for you guys. The affirmation for the intention reads, I am grateful for my awareness of my heart's desires and set intentions with those desires in mind. That is kind of like nicely illustrated in the image, and it matches well as well. So meanings in the book clearly matches the images and resonates very well. Like for self-care here, the affirmation reads, I lovingly make self-care a priority as I am grateful for this life, this body, and all aspects of my life. Again, the card nicely demonstrates that self-care taking place. Our next cards are intermingle and expression. Beautiful blending of the colors. I really love that. Intermingle affirmation reads, I am grateful to be working with others to help them achieve their goals and create my gratitude network. It has a nicely demonstrated group of network in that card, each bringing their own unique energy and support. Really love the way that's been done. Our next card is expression. The affirmation for that one is I express my gratitude freely and frequently. You have fairies kind of dancing over the fields. It all feels somewhat calming of an energy taking place there. Very nice. Our next card, we have security and relationship. Again, the artwork is absolutely fantastic. Very fantasy, dreamy kind of artwork. Very nicely done. Security. The affirmation for this one reads, I create a secure environment for myself and those who I care about. I gratefully claim my security. You have a woman hiding behind the trees from what could be hunters after the fox she is protecting. Next card is relationship. You have two boys that are sharing a book that has revealed a castle with part of various stories happening presently. You have conflicts there and some positives going on. So the indication of living in the present, here and now, regardless of the many things that is taken from. Each voice has a different perspective also, with different variation of lights coming from each side. So there's a lot of details in this one and so many to go into. We have seek and memories. The seek affirmation reads, I am grateful for the ability to seek out new information. You've got a cloaked young person with the owl on the shoulders. The owl, as always, represents the unseen knowledge and wisdom to guide you. And the lantern is there to kind of see you through and guide you through that. We have memories. I love the bright spark of energy around the memory of Christmas and celebrating around the tree that you have there in the center. There is always something in the past to be grateful for in our memories. The affirmation reads, I am grateful for the memories that have shaped my life and made me who I am today. Now, I think that's a beautiful affirmation because this is overall what this deck is about. A little bit about the deck itself and my thoughts. As stated on the box, this is a deck all around gratitude. Every aspect of this deck will highlight that, and it does a really fabulous job in its affirmations of each cards for you to embrace that. But also it makes it very easy to understand what it is you are embracing and how it ultimately benefits you and others. The deck gives out a very clear, powerful message in each cards. By that, I mean it really does make you reflect on things on a more positive way, or gets you to consider things from a different perspective. For example, we are always trying to kind of, we're always manifesting on a daily basis. And sometimes it can get very frustrating by how long things are taking, or the many trials we have to go through in getting there, or, and it's very frustrating at times not knowing what's going on, which tends to be the worst thing. What's going on behind the scenes. Is this working? Is it not working? And what am I doing wrong? And so on. And that tends to lead you to despair, or will kind of lead you to try and force things to happen. In this deck, you will find cards that gives you insight into the workings. It will shed some light and hope of why, and make you aware of the things that one should consider. So it really brings that out of you, that moment of where it makes you start to appreciate things a lot more, and it makes you realize that, things actually could be worse, and that I'm really lucky and protected. And that's nicely illustrated in every single one of these cards. For example, you will see the universe, what the universe has to go through in order to bring into fruition your manifestation, how the universe has to bend or adjust a timing of multiple tasks, people, events, actions, movements, to be at the right time in the right place to where you will be in order for it to catch you, for you to get that result. Bearing in mind that you don't divert from what you wanted and what you asked the universe for. And it becomes very difficult when we don't have that patience and that appreciation of the awareness of what's going on in the background, and how by us diverting from what we originally wanted to manifest, or what we asked the universe of, and we kind of put the universe in a position of where it's having to reevaluate everything again and reposition everything, which leads to things taking a lot longer than where originally it would have not taken that, as long, to get the result that you needed, what was best for you. You can see just how complex and how complicated it can be, that whole process, to just try and manage that on our own. There is no way we would have been able to do that. I mean, who wouldn't be grateful or be appreciative to know that you have in the universe an account manager doing all of this for you? And working with this deck gives out that realization to you. And to me personally, that's what it's done for me, for sure. And that to me is what makes this a must-have deck, part of your collection. It's a very powerful deck that purely represents gratitude. I, for example, will pull one card out for the day, and the message is that powerful and resonates on a deep level at times, where it has this effect on me, that it can shape my entire day or week into a more gratifying way. And to me, that's what makes this deck such a brilliant deck to have, and how what the author has done and the way the artist has kind of put that out is just absolutely fantastic. It really is. It does what it's supposed to do, what it sets out to do. It provides you affirmation to be a lot more appreciative. It gives you messages, meanings, and insight that really gives you a different or a more graceful way of viewing situation, having that perspective, being a lot more compassionate, very appreciative through all of these difficulties that you may be going through. Gives you that hope of, you know what, the universe does really have your back. If you've ever been in doubt, if you may not see the result, believe it or not, there is powerful forces in the background working on your behalf. It is us who makes it complicated. It is us that may kind of force the universe to divert its ways that could have been just around the corner. And, the more sort of restrictions we're feeling is an indication of how very close that dream is. And I've gone through that on numerous occasions. I'm guilty of that. I'm human at the end of the day. But it just makes you realize how much support we have as human beings, and how it got me thinking as to, you know what, there are 100 billion things that I should really be grateful for. And resonating in that frequency, you could see why more things would materialize or come to you quicker by just focusing on that. You're kind of giving the universe a helping hand to manifest your deepest wishes and desires. That, you know what, it's not the universe, it's ultimately us. It's us that is in the way of not seeing through our manifestation to materialize. And, there's working with this deck has definitely made me a lot more appreciative. I thought I was a lot graceful. I thought I did appreciate, but when you really work deeply with this deck, you kind of realize, you know what, I was only doing 5% worth of gratification. I wasn't really deep into it like I thought I was. And to me, my experience, that has been the beauty of working with this deck, and why I really appreciate it coming into my life, and how a blessing it's been to work with. And without any doubt, I'm positive that anyone who picks this up and works with it will near enough come close to the conclusion that I've come to. Well, that's what I believe anyway. But yeah, so that's pretty much overall what, to me, I believe this deck is all about, and what it does, and how the perspective is a very positive one. It is a positive deck overall. It covers many various different areas. I mean, each cards, there's again multiple meanings. I mean, if you look at the cards themselves, there's not one or two images or things to focus on. There's so many things to focus on. There's the lighting aspect of stuff, so the various different colors can represent the various different tones of the chakras. You've got various elemental energies in there, and creatures as well as a form of support, bringing that realization of what is currently in the present. Again, there's a lot of emphasis on the various different messages. It tends to get you to focus in the here and the now, the present moment, what you have, what is around you, what you're capable of, what you can do. So there's quite a lot. You are getting so much from this deck, really do. The image itself is absolutely fantastic. When you read the meanings, they resonate perfectly. They are linked. It's all linked perfectly. And you will also find there's a lot of youthfulness in a lot of these images. That's because I guess that is the best state of mind at times, especially when we're going through the various different challenges. Having the mind of a young child that is open, that lives within the moment, the power in that. So there's a lot of emphasis as well that you will see in a lot of these cards, like just bringing out that energy. Absolutely fantastic. I can't go any further as to how great this is and how much beneficial it is. Very beautiful deck. My goodness, I've been talking too much about my experience and not much on the cards. My apologies. Clearly, I like it that much. Okay, so we have solitude and choices. Solitude affirmation would read, I welcome the opportunity to spend time in solitude and become reacquainted with myself. You have a woman sitting in solitude with a book on her lap. It's all about seeking peace from the battle of a daily conditioning of life that brings stresses. Choices. Its affirmation reads, I carefully weigh my options and make my choices with gratitude. You have a young girl chasing some elementals. It's about staying optimistic while you determine the best options for you. We have unexpected and support. Unexpected affirmation reads, I open my heart to the unexpected blessings life holds for me. The man holding a fairy in his palm is an unexpected miracle that this fairy actually exists. Life is full of surprises, so whenever your life is disrupted in any way, there is always an unexpected opportunity to be grateful for. Support. Affirmation is, I provide support to my friends and loved ones and receive their care in return. A moth lifts into the air, encouraging others to follow. It's about having a support group when things are difficult to help you take a break and help you with your overall well-being. We have two gorgeous looking deck in the reveal and differences. Again, gorgeous artwork and colors brought together is beautiful. Affirmation for reveal. I am ready and willing to reveal myself to the world. I am grateful to be able to let others into my life. The card is asking you not to allow negativity of the past to dictate your future. It's all about trust issues. By closing your heart, you block the many beautiful things around you in the present moment. Differences, beautifully done with the two women, one representing the moon and the other the sun, with its various attributes we hold inside. It's beautiful because it makes you realize that everything you see outside, everything about the sun and the moon resonates inside of you too. You don't have to wait for the sun to come out to have a beautiful day, for example. There are many things that you can intuitively pick up in here, and that's what I love about this deck. For example, what I've just said there, none of what I've just told you is in the book, but it's what I see in the image. So even if you don't use the guidebook, intuitively you are still feeling, reflecting on some form of appreciation or picking up the frequency of gratification. And again, that's what's beautiful about this deck. One way or the other, you're going to reflect on things. So whatever you're going to intuitively pick up from the images, most of it is going to be in the book one way or the other to cover it. So you don't have to worry about that. We have contemplation and tools. The affirmation: I willingly contemplate my biases and expand my existence. Contemplating helps you to see things as they are. It asks us to strive to look at the things as objectively as possible. It even gives you tips on how you can do that simply by asking questions to help this process. Again, more other little bits in the book to help you out. Tools: I spend time on my spiritual practice and use my tools each day. You have a fairy standing on the tips of some clusters. Basically, we all have spiritual potential and tools and techniques to help us improve or raise our vibration. Our last card is culmination. It affirms: I celebrate my accomplishments and strive for continued success. For the times you may feel unmotivated or unproductive, it's asking you to look at the little accomplishments you've done so far and to celebrate that. Don't just think about the end result and then celebrate. It's pretty much asking you to look at these little successes and accomplishments that you've achieved in getting to the bigger results. So, something again to kind of consider and think about. So that was the last of our cards, guys. So here we're going to go through a flip through. Enjoy. I hope you guys enjoyed the flip through. Before we get into the guidebook, I wanted to include a small comparison on how this deck I feel has evolved. I'm comparing it to Mystical Wisdom, Nature's Whispers. The biggest change is in, of course, the size of the box, and that is due to the guidebook having a lot more in-depth meaning, but also the other part is the deck themselves. In Mystical Wisdom, you had bigger borders, name of cards, and quotes. Nature's Whisper went to minimize that with added number and naming on that card, with kind of a lot more populated image. In the gratitude, you could see how it's like a full image, more filled with the number and naming kind of like nicely below the borders. The cards are exactly the same size, but overall quality has massively improved, and you could see that on how much thicker the card stock is compared to the other two. So you could see how massively it's been improved. I mean, the cards, like I said, it's exactly the same size, would fit in the other boxes exactly the same. It's just the book is a lot more in depth. Talking about the guidebook itself, when we open the guidebook, you're presented with the contents and all the kind of like all the various different information that you will get. You get a good 7-page worth of introduction. Now the cards are not in alphabetical order, so it's all around the numbers. But again, you could see here in the book how everything is kind of fairly easy for you to find. At the back of the book, you just get information on the authors. Moving into the introductional part of the page, you get the imagery that is in black and white. You get quite a good welcoming introduction that pretty much breaks down all the particular parts about this deck, you know, how to best use them, the various ways you could kind of like incorporate them in various different practices to kind of like consider preparing your cards. Again, the sort of like basic introductory stuff that you would get in most of the decks today, how to shuffle them, how to choose the card. So if you're a complete beginner, so this will kind of like be great for you. Again, here section about various different techniques that you can make part of your practice, or something to try new and how to use these cards. It provides you quite a lot of information and the various different spreads as well that you can use. There's pretty much two various different spreads. You could, you know, you're not kind of tied down to only these spreads. You can kind of make your own, but it gives you plenty of information as to the various different methods that's available. And plus you get imagery as well, just kind of like, you know, to make things quite fairly easy for you to get into. So it's about 7 pages worth of information, and then we'll go into the card meaning section. Now this will be my negative here. This is a massive book where you get a very small black and white image, which is not fairly clear. You get, yes, the wording on there. So it's like that for pretty much majority of it. Is you could see here, by all means, please pause and read. And it kind of like is reflected amongst all of the other cards and its meaning. It gives you sort of like a general meaning as to what the card is, you know, what message it's trying to employ to you, ways of how one can use the various different practices or things to consider and reflect on, in terms of best ways of incorporating gratitude into your life or whatever challenges it is you're going through. And then the last section of that will pretty much cover the image. So I mean, everything that you see within the image, what's going on, all of it will cover that. And then at the very end, you'll have the affirmation. Now, this is where I kind of have a problem with I feel that most of the time you've got waste space. And I'll show you what I mean here in all the other pages. It's pretty much, like I said, exactly the same. But you have a lot of space that's just kind of wasted. Maybe you could have make better use of that space. You know, and this is what's taken out most of this book. There are certain card meanings where it does make good use, like here for example you can see, but again I feel majority of it is quite a lot of waste space, which I think they could have done a much better job of. So that is the book in general. Again, it's a very, very nice card. I've been using it, highly recommended, great quality. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this in-depth review. Look out for the next one. Love and light to everyone.